Yo, what's going on, Titan Nation? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another edition of Titans in Truth. I'm your man Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we got another great episode coming up for you. And I apologize, I've been a little bit behind on the show recently. I've been having some things going on. I've been actually out of town last week, so I wasn't able to actually record a show last week. But what I'm gonna do for this episode, we're gonna go in just talk quickly about the game against the Buccaneers last week, and also gonna give my thoughts on that, and also a little bit of stuff that's been going on in practice this week. And of course, we're gonna preview the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday, which is the dress rehearsal game, since it is preseason game number 3. But I'm glad that everybody with us tonight, and we're going to have a very good show here for you. Now, back in the game against Tampa Bay, of course, we lost 30-14 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I will say the first team offense did look very good. They had 2 drives, scored a touchdown on one of the drives on a 47-yard touchdown pass on the screen from Marcus Mariota to Taywan Taylor, and with Taywan Taylor turned on the Jets and got off to the races. And so I liked very much what the first team offense did. The screen game was very effective with Taywan Taylor, with Dion Lewis, and Derrick Henry as well. Now, Dion had a very big gain on a play, but then fumbled the football, but luckily it went out of bounds, and we were able to retain possession on that. But you can see that the screen game is definitely going to be a huge part of this offense. And if everything goes right, the screen game could be very, very explosive for this team. The first team offense definitely looked like they may be closing in on getting into a groove. It's still going to take some time. It's not perfect yet, but they're definitely going to be effective once it all comes together. They're going to be very, very difficult to stop. On the defensive side of the ball, I saw some good things defensively as well, because with Tampa Bay's first team offense, the Titans basically held them to less than 100 yards in the first quarter altogether. So the defense did very well in the beginning, even though there was a long pass from Fitzpatrick, I believe, to Mike Evans, but it was broken up by Adoree Jackson and Kevin Byard. No, that was to Deshaun Jackson. That's what that was. And so, I saw some good things for the first team defense. I think they're gonna get better, and they're gonna get stronger as the season goes on. I could even see this defense being maybe a top 10 or even a top 5 defensive team by the end of the year. All right, and so I really liked what I saw from this defense. Got to get a little bit more pass rush. I mean, Harold Landry is definitely showing out. So it looks like he might end up possibly starting the season as the outside linebacker, of course, with news coming out that Derek Morgan is recovering from a knee surgery. Also, Rashard Matthews is recovering as well. We're going to get to more of that a little bit later. But it looks like Harold Landry is going to definitely get more snaps with the first team, especially this week coming up. And I really want to see what he does against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm really looking forward to that. Now, after the starters went out, Jameis Winston came in, and the Tampa Bay first team was still on the field in the second quarter. We went to our backups. And if you saw the game, the backups got torched. The backups, they had some problems handling Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay first team offense. And of course, you can't really take it into, you don't want to take it out of context, because it was Jameis Winston and the starters against second and third teamers. Basically, our first team was already out of the game by then, and we went to our backups by then. Now, excuse me for that. Now, that doesn't leave any excuse. I mean, your backups need to come in and try to do the job, but, giving up 226 yards passing to Jameis Winston in the second quarter alone, that's not very good for when we need depth on the defensive side of the ball. And, that includes, guys like, LaShawn Sims and DeMontre Hurst and among others. And, those guys, are supposed to be providing depth possibly behind our top three corners of Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, and Malcolm Butler. But when you're giving that up, that's going to leave a lot of questions and wondering what is our depth really going to be like. Because if one of our starters goes out, we could be in some trouble. And, we need guys that are going to be able to step up and make some plays, in this defense, because they're going to be rotating guys. So, though the backups didn't really have a great game on either side of the ball, whether it's offensively or defensively, because also Devin Ross on the offensive side, he had a big game, but then ended up fumbling the ball and making it into a turnover. So things like that are things that don't need to happen. And that was some things that did happen in this game. And, I noticed also that Dalen Dawkins got the reps after Llewellyn. After Henry, Lewis, and Llewellyn, it was Dawkins that was up and not Akram Watley. So Watley, I don't think got carries until the fourth quarter. So I don't know if Dalen Dawkins has jumped ahead of Watley in the depth chart, but it's going to be interesting to see how the running back group plays out, if they decide to just stay with three running backs or if they decide to keep a fourth running back. We're going to definitely find that out indeed. And I think defensively now, one bright spot I will say from the backups is Sharif Finch. I think Sharif Finch is definitely going to make this team. And I think Wormsley has a shot too. Julius Wormsley, defensive lineman as well. They both actually have a legit shot to make this team. And, I just need Sharif Finch to get to the quarterback a little bit more and finish off some plays. On the touchdown pass that Jameis Winston had, Sharif Finch was right there. And if Sharif Finch, maybe another hundredth of a second, would have had a sack, and that touchdown pass may not ever happen. So, Sharif Finch got to continue to get better, but I think he's done a lot of good things in this training camp, and so he has a very good chance to make this football team. But again, Titans fell 30-14. They fall to 0-2 in the preseason, but again, you're not worried about the record or the end result. You're really just worried about development. You want to see who's getting better, who is showing themselves to kind of break away from the others to make this football team. And of course, Coach Vrabel came out and said, like, for example, Quinn Spain is basically, he's closing in on locking down that left guard spot, which, he's always been the starter there. But it looks like he's going to keep that spot. And he's actually giving some praise to Dennis Kelly, playing right tackle in place of Jack Conklin. And, of course, Jack Conklin being on the PUP list, we don't know how quickly he's going to come off of that. He's been doing some conditioning and some work on the side field, so maybe he could be close to coming back. I don't know. I think there's a very good chance, at least the first game against Miami, we could see Dennis Kelly starting. Now, I think against Houston, if Jack Conklin is ready to go, then they'll probably put him in for that particular game. But I would say right now, I think Dennis Kelly's going to start at least the first game or two of the regular season as well. And a lot of things have been happening in practice this week. For example, Rashaan Evans, tried to practice yesterday and came out, stretched, went through some of the drills, and then the coaches decided to take him off of there, and he went back to doing some conditioning work on the side field. I think that means that Rashaan Evans is close to coming back. I think he's going to be held out for the remainder of the preseason, but I do think that he will be playing in some regular season action very soon. And I think by the end of the year, he will be the starting middle linebacker for this defense without a doubt. And I think he's going to be starting way sooner than later on that. Also, the list of injuries is really starting to pile up for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, the injury bug has hit us kind of hard because, I mean, you got Arakpo is still out. Delaney Walker's been out a week with an apparent foot injury. Mike Campanero, the wide receiver, he hasn't practiced at all in training camp, which leads me to believe he's probably not going to make the team. Also, Malcolm Butler's been out. I don't know what's going on with him, but, you know, he did not play in the game against Tampa Bay, so I don't know what his situation is going to be for Pittsburgh. But, you know, in this particular game, I would definitely like to see Malcolm Butler out there playing. And then also, of course, Akram Watley, Stephen Terrell, another safety, Kendrick Lewis. None of those guys are practicing. Derek Morgan, and this is something we came out with. This is according to Paul Kaharski. He was able to get some information showing that both Derek Morgan and Rashard Matthews are recovering from knee surgeries, which is why they have not been practicing lately. Rashard Matthews looks like he may be close to coming back very soon, which I believe he'll be ready to go week 1. Derek Morgan, on the other hand, he could be a little bit longer going into the season, so he may miss the first, I would probably say the first 3 games of the season, whereas that's why I was mentioning Harold Landry may get a lot of snaps to begin the season. And I honestly believe if Harold Landry continues to do well, Derek Morgan may not have a job coming back. So Harold Landry might take that job away from Derek Morgan, and Derek Morgan may not get it back. And y'all got to remember, Derek Morgan's on a contract here, and so is Brian Arakpo. And we may have the future pass rushers on this team already with Harold Landry and Sharif Finch. So right now, if I'm Derek Morgan, you know, maybe not trying to get back too quick, but you better get back because you may not have a job to come back to. So that is some things that definitely happened during practice this week. Also, Tim Shaw came to visit the team in practice, and, you know, Coach Vrabel spoke very highly of him and basically said, you know, anytime he wanted, to be around the team or to come to practice, he was welcome to do so. I love the fact of how the Titan family has really taken Tim Shaw in, and I do like the fact that Vrabel has continued the tradition of letting alumni be at practice and let them be able to be out there and to help the younger players or anything like that, because you need that tutelage. That tutelage is going to be very helpful in the long run. So I did like some of that stuff that was going on, and, you know, definitely seeing this team really starting to come together. And so, you know, this week is a very important week for the Tennessee Titans because, you know, this is Pittsburgh week. This is game 3. And game 3 in the preseason is usually the dress rehearsal. This is a game that you see most situations by teams that you will probably see in the regular season. So, for example, you're going to see starters on both sides probably playing most of, if not all of, the first half. So Marcus Mariota and the offense is probably going to be out there the entire first half or the majority of it. So is the defense. Ben Roethlisberger may be playing in this game. We don't know if Antonio Brown is going to play. We know Le'Veon Bell is holding out on that. So I think first team offense, we're going to have to see what happens with Pittsburgh. But definitely the first team defense, I'm pretty sure they're going to be out there. And this it is good that we have the Pittsburgh Steelers as our dress rehearsal, because I was listening to Amy Wells and Mike Keith on their Titans podcast earlier today, and I believe it was from yesterday, that this particular game is going to be like a measuring stick. We're going to find out how far along this team has come. And so you're going to find out if this team is close to being a good football team that's actually ready to compete, not only in the AFC, but in the division. So that's going to be a major question that could get answered this weekend. And so before I get into this game with Pittsburgh and talk about what I'm hoping to see, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of Titans and Truth, and that is my cousin LaCrystal Cleveland of Craft Gasman Creations. I've been telling y'all about her all this time, and so y'all need to go ahead, order yourself a Titans of Truth shirt or a hoodie or a sweatshirt. You could definitely talk to her. I'm probably going to be ordering another shirt probably within the next 2 weeks or so, hopefully to have it ready for the opener. So I'm going to be having that. I want to see some other people have that too. That is Craft Gasman Creations on Facebook, at Craft Gasman _Creations on Instagram, or you could just hit her up on Facebook under LaCrystal Cleveland. If you're really serious about buying a shirt or getting one made, that's when you need to talk to her on that. So definitely give her a hit. Let her know that Chris of Titans of Truth sent you, and she'll let you know how much that'll be for that and could get that to you. So definitely check her out. Definitely check her out. She's a big time supporter of Titans of Truth, so I give props to her on that. Now, this Pittsburgh game is going to be very important because, again, this is the dress rehearsal. A lot of times starters play all the way through the first half and sometimes even play early into the third quarter. Now, I don't expect our offense to play into the third quarter, but I think they'll play the entire first half. So I'm expecting that to happen, and I think this is going to be a very big time measuring stick to see where our team is as far as everything coming along, both offensively and defensively. Of course, Matt LaFleur has given some indication that he may be on the sidelines for this game against Pittsburgh instead of up in the booth. And I believe Dean Pease is up in the booth, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to find that information out right there on that. But what I'm looking for is, first off, for the first team offense to get into a rhythm, both running the ball and passing the ball. So I'm looking for some consistency. I'm looking for some rhythm. I'm looking for some poise from Marcus, from Derek. I want to see Corey Davis do some good things. I want to see Taywan Taylor continue to get better. And want to definitely see this first team offense take off just a little bit. Defensively, definitely want to see the secondary. I want to definitely see the secondary, see how they are against, Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and stuff like that. And also getting some pass rush. This is a big game for Harold Landry, since it looks like Derek Morgan's going to be out. This is a big game for Harold Landry, because I think Harold Landry can lock down a starting spot and, definitely can get some pressure on Ben Roethlisberger and cause some havoc. He's going to have to put together some array of moves this year and not just, go on legit speed in the bend to get around an offensive tackle. He's going to have to use some other moves to help him get to the quarterback and get to the quarterback faster. And that's going to help the entire defense out. Jarrell Casey a few weeks back said he wants to be a double-digit sack guy. This is a good game for him to get a sack or two, definitely. So I'm looking for that on the defense with pressure, some good coverage. And I don't know if Rashaan Evans is going to play in this game. I highly doubt that he'll play. But if he does, I just want to see what he can do in this particular game. This will be a nice game for him to do a little bit of damage and show what we picked up in the first round. So that's two things that I'm looking for. Some rhythm on offense, consistency on defense, and I just want to see some backups do very well in this game. I definitely want to see some backups maybe emerge and look like a team, like a player that could definitely make the team and make an impact. Right now, I haven't really just seen anybody just like in the running back group. I haven't seen Akram Watley or Dalen Dawkins separate and really be a challenge to David Fluellen. Right now, the third running back spot is Fluellen's spot to lose. I haven't seen really Watley or Dawkins really take that step forward. Backup offensive lineman, I haven't really just noticed anybody doing really good except maybe Corey Levin, who has done some good. as a backup lineman. So I want to see some of that happening. And as far as in the receiving group, you got, Rashard's coming back, Corey, Taywan, Tajay. I want to see, can Nick Williams stay on the role that he's been on? Does Deontay Burnett or Jordan Vesey step up? Can Devin Ross rebound from his tough game against Tampa Bay? I honestly think there are 2 wide receiver spots available. Nick Williams, I think, has one of them. So I think the other spot will either go to Burnett, Vesey, or Ross in this particular situation, or Darius Jennings. So I can't forget about him as well. I didn't really see much of Darius Jennings at all in the game against Tampa Bay, so we're going to have to find out. We need some players to emerge. And on defense, we need some depth on defensive line. Wormsley needs to step up a bit, continue his hot streak. And, can Sharif Finch continue to improve as a backup and maybe help Aaron Wallace or Harold Landry. And, I didn't really see a lot from Aaron Wallace in games either. So I really want to see some of these backups take a step up. And other corners, right now, you got Malcolm Butler, you got Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, LaShawn Sims. Kalen Reed and Ty Smith are both on IR. So as of right now, there's an opening for two slots at cornerback. Rico Gafford could take one of those spots. And then, of course, I would say, Joseph Kalu maybe has a chance. Some of these other corners may actually have an opportunity, but they're going to have to step up and make some plays, because if they don't, they will not be on this team, and the Titans will have to look outside. And Kenny Vaccaro seems to be getting very comfortable in this defense as a starter. He hasn't really made any good plays, but he hasn't made any bad plays either. So I think that honestly is a very good thing also. So, that's something that I'm really looking for. Rhythm on offense, consistency on defense, somebody back up to step up. That's really what I'm looking for in this particular game against Pittsburgh. And, of course, this game is on Saturday, but it is Saturday afternoon, not Saturday night. It's going to be on the NFL Network at 3 p.m. Central Time. So that's when the game is going to be. So it's a daytime preseason game. And I like that because that's going to be closer to what the regular season is going to be. Most of our games are going to be at 12. We'll have a couple of games at 3. So this will help as far as getting into a rhythm for what game weeks are actually going to be like. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to with that, and something that I'm, hoping that this team takes advantage of and gets off the snide and gets a victory here in the preseason. But that's basically what I'm going to be looking forward to, and it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. Now, one thing that I'm going to say on this is that, again, do not look at the end result. You want to just look at some development. Who steps up? Who emerges? Who just takes over a game? That's what we're going to try to find out, and that is who we need on this Tennessee Titan team. And, they were talking about that on Jared and the GM earlier today, is this Titan team a really good football team? Because the schedule is tough. The division's going to be tougher because you got, Deshaun Watson's coming back. J.J. Watt's coming back. Whitney Mercer's coming back for Houston. Andrew Luck is back in Indy. And with Jacksonville, even though they have a terrible quarterback in Blake Bortles, they still have the number 1 defense in the league. So this division is not going to be easy by any long shot. But if the Titans can maybe go 4-2 in the division, I think they could win this division and can definitely do some damage in the AFC as well. With that, so, a couple of lucky breaks have started to come our way as far as with the scheduling. First off, in Buffalo, they could be leaning toward Josh Allen being the starting quarterback week 1. So we play Buffalo within the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. If Josh Allen is starting, we may have a chance to win there. And also some sad news, unfortunately, is Travis Frederick, the center for the Dallas Cowboys, is suffering from a rare disease that he's dealing with, and he's trying to recover from that. There is no timetable for his return. I'm going to venture to say he's probably going to miss the entire 2018 season. Don't know that for sure, so I don't have any confirmation of that. But that is definitely true about the rare disease that Frederick does have. And that's a big blow to the Dallas Cowboy offensive line because Frederick is one of the best. Definitely probably the best center in the league, and definitely one of the best offensive linemen this league has seen in a very long time. So that's definitely a very unfortunate situation for the Dallas Cowboys right there. But I'll talk more next week about my predictions, because that's going to be the prediction show. I'm going to be talking about what I predict our record is going to be, and I'm predicting wins and losses. And also, while I'm at it, I'm going to be predicting the roster. Who makes this team? Who makes this team? Maybe who goes to the practice squad, or who is out altogether. That's going to be next week's show, as I'm going to try to definitely get maybe I'll see if I can get Jim Wyatt and or Austin Stanley on. I'm also going to reach out to maybe Teron Davenport, who's the new beat writer for ESPN for the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to try to get one of them on the show to help me with my predictions and things like that. So that's something that I'm definitely going to have coming up next week. So again, definitely check out Instagram at Titans_in_truth. Check out the TNT Enforcers page. That's the Titans and Truth fan page. Also check out Twitter at TNT Blue Enforcer. And also the website, www.titansandtruth.wixsite.com/Titans and Truth. Definitely check that out because I'm going to have that updated, and I'm probably going to put some new pictures and videos on there, so definitely get ready for that. But that's all I basically wanted to get into. If I forgot anything, I'll put that out on the recap show after the Steeler game. My name is Chris. Thank y'all for tuning in to Titans and Truth. I will be hollering at you for the prediction show next week.